So question, do you guys think that women are good at picking men? Just go around.
Nah.
Nah, I wouldn't say so.
No, probably not.
No, I don't.
No, definitely not.
So couldn't we say that was an advantage back then? Because I think men vet other men better than women do. Because we just said women aren't good at picking men, right? And like every single person in the room. And the problem is, like, a lot of women will go after, like, let's take Sierra, right? She'll go after Future while she's young, and then settle down with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson was the husband, but she went for Future first.
But do you know what that is, though? That's the women equivalent of the male wifey and slut thing.
Okay,
right.
So tell me more about that. Yeah.
Right. So basically, men obviously tend to have a type of woman that they want to, wife up. Quite often, that woman, I don't think, lives up to their sexual expectations. Maybe even because she wants to be a wife and a mother, she ends up doing more of that. Maybe she even, not her fault, becomes a mother to him. I think that happens.
How is it not your fault?
What do you mean?
It's not her fault that she became a mother to him?
No, I'm saying you were. Well, because obviously sometimes relationships just happen. And
Yeah, you pick the guys you date.
Yeah, no, you do pick the guy. Yeah, you do. But I still think we're all living life on this weird rock.
You know, guys, sometimes when I watch these TikToks, okay, when I'm looking for some content for the channel, my head just explodes when I watch people try and rationalize their arguments, okay? It's absolutely just incredibly funny to watch some of these individuals try and defend their points that make absolutely no sense. And guys, speaking of defending points that make absolutely no sense, I would once again like to welcome you to the Female Dating Strategy website. We're actually going to make this into perhaps a little bit of a video series. Depends how I'm really feeling, guys, and how much of a headache I want to induce in myself. Because this website is just absolutely full of content. There are many subreddits that I could go to cover different things, but I really like just it coming straight from girls who believe that they're just so incredibly correct about what it is that men want and how society functions. It just truly is fantastic to see. So the individual that we're going to be learning from here today, oh boy, their name is Trash Bag Witch, okay? And she's written an article here for us titled Patriarchal Projection, Why It's Them and Definitely Not Us. And guys, them is obviously referring to the agents of the patriarchy, such as myself, the animated vampire, and all of you, and perhaps the 3 women watching at home, although you'd probably get a pass because you're a woman. Basically, when it says, when it's them, why it's them, excuse me, it means men in particular. So let's take a bit of a look at this this particular article that we have here. Obviously, we've got a very evil man here pointing at the screen. It says, last year, I was sitting butt naked in a German sauna with various men of various ages and sizes. Yeah, what a fantastic way to start your story. I was at my local gym. That evening, the swimming pool was inaccessible as there were women taking aqua aerobics classes there. One man complained about this as we sat in the sauna. He mocked the women, trying to draw chuckles from us. He said they needed to be assisted in moving their asses. He insinuated they were infants or physically D-worded and in need of guided care. I saw them as mothers and women with weight problems, taking 1 damn hour for themselves to work on their health. They deserved those classes, that space in the pool, and that self-care. I looked over at the man carefully because I didn't want to look like I was staring in the sauna, and because people would get the wrong idea, and saw that he was overweight. I had to bite my tongue not to blurt out, "Hey, you look like you need such a class buddy." Then I realized, most of the time I've heard a woman being criticized or shamed about her weight, it's nearly always been a man doing it. And not only that, he's been overweight himself or struggling with the issue. Guys, I'm just going to come out and say this right off the bat, okay? Women make fun of women more than men do by a significant amount. Women also SLU shame each other more than men do to those women. Why? Because men get socially ostracized for insulting women in any particular way. Like if you're a guy and you crack a joke like this, you will get publicly shamed, but apparently it's just totally fine for men to do it. And guys, if you don't believe me, women to do it, I mean. If you don't believe me, I'd encourage you guys to just spend some time over on TikTok and see what exactly is allowed on the platform, because most of the time when I see all of these ad hominem attacks, they're actually women directed towards other women, interestingly enough, or women directed towards men. Let's continue with the story here. Psychologists, and she's got a little definition of projection here. She says psychologists describe projection as one person projecting their feelings, desires, and opinions onto others as a defense mechanism. Within a patriarchy, mediocre men project on women that they encounter. Interesting, interesting. Fast forward to a few months ago, I announced that I was pregnant to a relative of my partner. He chimes in almost immediately with, haha, how are you going to manage with that weight in the summertime? He may see it as a friendly dig, but I saw it as not only a limp-fisted attempt at humor doused in misogyny, but also I saw he was actually speaking about himself. I wanted to ask how he manages with his huge beer belly in the summer heat, but settled for cutting off contact. I mean, why don't you jest back at him? It really isn't that hard. He's trying to have a giggle. He said something that he found pretty funny. Why don't you make a joke back at him and say, oh, you know, mate, I learned from the best, or something like that. But of course, you have to see that it's, quote, doused in misogyny, right? Because this is your worldview. You can't accept a simple joke. And this is what's happening in society right now, guys. You can't joke about anything. You can't say anything. You can't say anything that'll be perceived as offensive. Why? Because you get canceled. Like, think about this woman right here, guys. She literally, after saying this, has jumped on the internet and wrote an article about how her feelings are hurt and that the misogyny is, the patriarchy is in charge of anything. When truthfully, guys, banter between people is really not determined based on what gender you are. Like, it's not that deep, bro. It really is not that deep. I feel sorry for the people who go out here and get offended by absolutely everything. They're the most miserable people. They're the most sad people that you'll ever see. And guys, they miss out on a hell of a lot. Like, when I hang out with my friends, I don't know about you guys, but some of the insults that we throw at each other are just, they're incredibly awful, but they're jokes. Nobody cares. You know, we laugh it off, we continue, and nobody bats an eye. But the girls like this will be like, man, that was so misogynistic, and I'm aware I'm saying the word incorrectly. That's so misogynistic, and the patriarchy is out to get me. You ever consider that people just joke with one another? Jeez, man. She says, I've been gifted with being skinny all my life. Even pregnant, I resemble a watermelon thief with my skinny arms and swollen belly. Okay, so she's allowed to call herself a watermelon thief, but when a man jests about her weight, it's all of a sudden a real big issue. I've had zero issues with any weight that I've gained. Every kilo is good for my baby. I've also grown up watching my mother and other people I love struggling with their weight, counting calories, fretting about what people think, taking the A word, and being shamed for something that they feel helpless about. Let me ask you a question. If you're being shamed about your health, particularly your weight, okay, if you're being shamed for your weight, you're not actually helpless with your weight. Okay, I don't know why, dude, society has this attitude right now, okay, where it's somehow healthy, or it's appropriate to be overweight, or it's somehow somebody else's fault. Like, bro, if you're overweight, you should feel some degree of shame for that. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you absolutely should. Nobody else is at fault for that, okay? You should be counting your calories. You should be concerned with at least, what you think about yourself, and, going to the gym or taking effort to lose that weight. I love how we're in a society right now, guys, where it's literally, looked down upon for improving your health. Like, what kind of attitude is this, man? You're not helpless when it comes to your weight. That's the difference. She says, why are women shamed by fat men for having weight? It's projection. Women naturally have bodies that hold more fat, which makes sense in terms of evolution. The male body is more muscular, and from an evolutionary perspective, isn't supposed to be fat. I love how these girls, by the way, will they'll cite evolutionary perspectives when it suits them, but at other times they'll just completely neglect to mention it or say that it's quote unquote bro science. Another major patriarchal projection, SL shaming women. So I've got to be careful with the language here as we continue. For an art project, I researched how many English and German curse words there are for women. So far, I've collected around 50. Many of them are just used to describe a woman as SL words, loose, easy to, or insinuate that she's a night walker. The funny thing is, women aren't the gender that actually acts bedroom fun, you know, in guided, shall we say, or loose. Men pay for bedroom fun, they need it more than women. Men want bedroom fun so bad that they spike women's drinks and has recently even started doing questionable things that I can't mention on the YouTube. Men harass and catcall women on the street. They assault, do all certain things that we can't talk about here. Men have religions that cater to their bedroom fun needs, making it her duty to do things. She is often bound by chastity, yet he is free to be the real getter around her. I'll say this, as far as I'm concerned, in a lot of religions, men are expected to be chaste as well. I believe in Islam, for example, men are expected to, you know, lower their eyes and not look at women because, you know, the intent is obviously not to marry the women. So, like, all of these things, guys, women are just creating enemies straight out of nothing. Here's the thing. If you don't want to be chaste, if you don't want to be with a religious man, why would this even concern you? This is the year 2022. You don't have to have babies with a dude that you don't want to. You don't have to have bedroom fun with men that you don't want to. You are welcome to go out here and choose whatever career you would like to enter. You are free. You are liberated to do these things. Okay, but here we are, we have a girl complaining about all of these things when she can choose simply to not engage with them. It's absolutely amazing. She says, who are the real bedroom fun instigators if men are always doing the pursuing? Regardless of what country or which time in history, the patriarchy is unable to escape one cold hard fact, or excuse me, it's unable to. A man will never have the intrinsic biological value a girl or a woman naturally has. She is not loose or promiscuous, he is. You want to know what the difference between male and female promiscuity is? One is incredibly difficult to engage in for the most part, and one is simply just waking up and not eating McDonald's. Can you guess which is which? Like, girls will, like, here's the thing. In order for a guy to get with a lot of women, it's actually typically a very difficult task if he's not, you know, completely genetically gifted. He actually has to do something. He has to get his ass in the gym, or he has to make a lot of money, or he has to gain a lot of status. That is the difference. And that's why typically a lot of these words are not leveraged towards men. Because in order for a man to get with a lot of women, he has to prove that he is worth something. He has to grind. A woman simply has to not wake up and eat McDonald's and clog her arteries every day. It is really simple. Hell, you can even be a girl who's a complete, like, just absolute nuisance, a woman who's incredibly rude, who's just an awful person to be around, and you'll still have dudes who will want to get with you, okay? But that's the difference, okay? You as a man, you can't go around being broke with no friends, okay? You've got no career, you're short, you've got no status at all. Girls won't want to mess with you. You can be a girl with none of those things, and guys will flock to you if you're nice and look halfway decent. It's very, very simple, guys, but girls will obviously complain about this. Why can't we go around? Why can't we be 304s without people saying anything about it? You can go out there. You can do whatever it is that you want, but don't be surprised when men don't want to marry you and when men don't want to have relationships with you. They might have, you know, some one-night stands here and there, but that doesn't mean that they are interested and wifing you up at Trash Bag Witch. Guys, and that's not an insult, by the way. That's literally what this individual has named themselves here, if you guys can see this. But guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, guys, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments, particularly to the TikTok that we played at the beginning of today's episode. Did it give you a headache as it did me? Why or why not? Make sure to drop a comment. And as always, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace. Yo guys, Past Taylor here. Just want to say thank you if you made it to the end of today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe to our other content creators over here at Fiend Gang, Hadan from Peace of Mind, and Detective Warg. Their channels will be linked in the video description. They've been putting out consistent content for you guys to enjoy, so make sure that you go and show them some love. Their channels will be linked below. Also, guys, if you are interested in supporting the channel, make sure that you come and join us for free over on Locals or Patreon. On Locals and Patreon, you guys get access to archived video content that is no longer available here on YouTube, and supporters also get access to exclusive videos where we cover different kinds of topics that you won't see me talk about here on YouTube, because to be honest, YouTube just really doesn't like it. There's video topics such as how broken families are created and how men can avoid it, bad traits that men can have, the reason why women chase married men, etc. So if you're interested in supporting, make sure that you go and check that out. And lastly, guys, if you're interested in getting a character made like mine, be sure to hit up our artist at the Gecko Ninja. He is linked in the video description as well. He's been doing art for Fiend Gang for quite some time, so if his stuff interests you guys, make sure that you hit him up for a commission. As always, he will be linked below the video. But with all that being said, guys, make sure that you take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next one, for real this time. Peace.